Hello and welcome back to coverage here at GP Atlanta. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paulo Vitor Damarosa, and it is time for round number 6. We're playing Modern. We've got Jeremy Dezani. He's on Bant Spirits. Deck you have a lot of experience with, do you not, Paulo?
No,
you played at a GP
amount.
or two?
Yeah, I played it at the Team GP.
Mm-hmm. On the other side of the table, we've got Edgar. He's on. Well,
Yeah.
I looked at his deck list and I saw 4 Azusa Lost But Seeking and 4 Primeval Titan.
Yeah,
I kind of stopped there and figured it was Amulet, and it is.
Yeah, and he has the chance to get one right now. And if he has a bounce land here, a Karoo, then that's really good for him. But seems like he maybe doesn't. He still has to activate that Tribe Scout, so he could still have it.
Colony Garden's going to make a plant token. Looks like he's brought his own.
He's a nice plant token.
It is. Somebody's going to come in and make him replace it with something else. I have a bad feeling. But and there it goes.
Yeah, I like the other one better.
I did like it too. But we got to be all official here on the stream.
Yeah, Jeremy Dezani really representing Spellqualler here because, you know, when you have a deck like people say, oh, Spirits is kind of like Fairies, and it is, but Fairies had a lot more instance. Like Spirit is a lot more play to the board, so when you pass the turn with 3 mana up, like you very likely have Spellqualler because almost any other card that you would have, you'd already have played it. So it's not like Fairies in that regard.
So Edgar maybe puts out a little feeler here with Ancient Stirrings number 2, but it does resolve. Dezani cracks his fetch land on end step, gets a Hollowed Fountain, and just plays nothing for the turn.
Yeah, now there can be Collected Company too. And yeah, this Amulet deck is very interesting. It's if you know how it works, it uses Amulet of Vigor to make your bounce lands, which are the ones that tap for 2 mana. You have to bounce something. It makes them come to play untapped, and then you get to bounce themselves and replay them. Sometimes multiple times in the turn to Azusa or the Sacred Tribe Scout, and you generate a ton of mana. Then you play Primeval Titan. And then those lands come to play untapped as well, and then you just kind of go off from there. But
yeah, there's an interesting collection of cards that allow you some level of inevitability thanks to that Primeval Titan setting up different ways to win the game. Though usually it does involve combat with that Primeval Titan itself.
Yeah, because one of the lands you get is the Sumhome Fortress of the Legion. And then you get this Lair Stronghold and the Sumhome.
Yep.
Then you get to give it haste and then potentially double strike later on. And then everything just works. So it's a deck that does absolutely nothing if his game plan doesn't come together.
Right.
But it does have a nice backup plan of just playing Primeval Titan.
Sure.
Sometimes you play an Amulet and you have Sacred Tribe Scout or an Azusa. You play the same bounce land 3 times and there's a Titan on turn 3. I don't know, that's pretty good against a lot of people.
One of the key interactions you'll see is Teleria West. There's 3 of those in Edgar's main deck, and he can search those up with the Titans and eventually turn those into a pact, Summoner's Pact, or a Pact of Negation even. And that is a part of the engine that gets rolling once the deck gets into combo mode. In the meantime, Jeremy Dezani uses Spell Queller there.
Yeah, and now Jeremy Dezani, he can have Path to Exile. That's the one thing he can have that interacts in any way with Edgar. And I guess not anymore.
No, he's going to make a second copy of Drogskull Captain, though. And that means that, while Edgar probably wasn't going to be interacting much with Jeremy's board, well, now he's really not.
Yeah, and now, Edgar's in 15. And there's 10 damage in play, so he's still quite a bit short. So Edgar will probably have 2 turns here.
Of course, the key here with Drogskull Captain ×2 is that they give each other hexproof.
Oh yeah, which completely mitigates the downside for Phantasmal Image because they can't be targeted anyway.
Right. And of course, all the other spirits are getting +2/+2, and they're getting +1/+1 each from each other. it ends up creating quite a formidable board state and a real clock, but Edgar's deck can win out of nowhere.
Yeah, and kind of has to at this point.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the difference from Edgar's list, from what we've seen from Amelie Bloom, lately, is he has Adventurous Impulse in it, which is a card that just recently got printed, and it's a very, very bad Ancient Stearns impression because it doesn't actually get the Amulet, which is the card that you really need, but it does get the Titan, and it does get Azusa, and it does get lands. So,
by the way, speaking of Azusa, there she is. So Edgar's going to play that land a couple of times, untap it, play it again, untap it, play it again, and of course before coming to hand, it gets a tap for 2 mana, so he's going to generate additional mana off of that, enough in fact to cast right there, Primeval Titan. And then the combo ends up being the Slayer's Stronghold with the Boros Garrison, enough mana there to activate it right away, giving it Vigilance and Haste and +2/+0, and it gets to attack as well. So not only did he get 2 lands in, he's basically going to get 2 of those lands for free, as he's going to get these ones as well. And there, once again, you see that Teleria West in combination with a bounce land that can be returned back to Edgar's hand if he'd like, and then he can transmute it.
Yeah, and
a lot of action.
Yeah, and he chose not to go for the Sunhum here. So it's not going to be a one-turn kill. But he's still pretty safe, and he does have the choice of, bringing back that Teleria West and transmuting it for a Pact. Jeremy Designy has the option of double blocking it, but I don't think he really should. His best shot is probably to draw. What is happening here? Okay. So his best shot is to draw Collected Company here and then get 2 Lords, and that would actually be lethal. Like 2 of any Lord, Phantasmal Image or Supreme Phantom or Drugskull Captain. That is an interesting play from Vanguard. I would think, does he have a Pact in hand already?
It could be.
Because I would think he would really want to get a Pact of Negation there. So he had Detroit, had the option to. Then he could have just, he could have just bounced his Teleria West and transmuted that, and that would have basically guaranteed a win. No, his hand is 3 lands?
Looks like it.
Oh, so I'm really confused, but...
He does have it in his deck, the Pact of Negation, 1 in the main, just to be able to get searched up for that situation.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe we missed something. It doesn't seem like the lands he got really did anything. Though he's still going to win next turn if Jeremy doesn't kill him. I can't imagine he wouldn't.
Jeremy's running the numbers now to see what combat actually looks like if he is to pass the turn back. But it's not pretty.
No, it isn't. And he can definitely pay for the Pact, right? There's a chance he wouldn't be able to, but he could. He has double blue in 5 minutes. Yeah, so I really don't know.
Well, wait, could he though? Because in order for him to transmute, he would have had to pay double blue and lose the Gemstone Mine. His other land was the Simic Growth Chamber that was available, and remember, he would be transmuting away his other blue source, so maybe that was a problem. Am I missing something there?
But he tapped the Gemstone Mine anyway, right? So it wasn't 2 before.
Oh, it must have been on 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know then. Is that a remorseful cleric there for Jeremy?
Yep.
Looks like it. Relatively new to the scene as well. And he does have 1 Lord there.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Not quite. He's a Lord short, isn't he?
Yeah, and here we're seeing the hexproof effect actually be relevant because there's Walking Ballista there that could just shoot down the Drugskull Captain, but now he can't. So yeah, Jeremy Designy is trying to just stay alive here. I don't think he will succeed. In fact, I'm pretty sure he won't, but he does have a lot of toughness in there. Like, those spirits are not small.
Right.
The Spellcaller is 6 toughness. The Supreme Phantom is 5 toughness. And then the Remorseful Cleric is 4.
Wow.
So he has 15 toughness there. So maybe he can survive.
Yeah, he was doing the math before deploying these cards and lining up this attack step, and it looks like he may have decided that's the case.
Yeah, so the Titan can grow up to, well, it can become an 8, and then it can get Sunhome, so that's 16. 2 from Ballista, 1 from Azusa, that's 19. 2 again from Ballista, it's 21.
But he's got 15 toughness still. Would leave
Yeah.
him alive.
Well, you have to pump that Ballista a little bit more. I don't know if there's enough mana for that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also, I wonder if the math changes because the Primeval Titan would get double strike, right, off of Sunhome.
Yeah.
Maybe able to mow down that,
Oh, the Lord?
yeah, the Lord first strike, and then maybe get a little bit more damage in on the regular damage.
Yeah, that would work.
In the meantime, a second copy of Primeval Titan has joined the team.
It looks like it would be a lot of copies of Removal Titan.
Now he's going to use Teleria West to transmute. It feels like he just has it here, right?
Yeah.
Like his body language is telling me I'm good.
Yeah, he has the same
Whoa.
thing he did before with an extra Titan.
His advantage bar certainly agreed with him.
Yeah, no, there's no way here. He's going to get 4 lands. And he can double strike any of the Titans.
There's that Sunhome you mentioned before. And a Vesuva.
Yeah.
He's playing pretty quickly here, but as you can see, when this thing gets rolling, it really goes. And it looks like he's just going through the motions at this point.
Yeah, he even gained life for the Radiant Fountain. But I guess that's not going to be super relevant.
Might as well style.
Yeah.
Dump a bunch of mana into the Walking Ballista. There it is.
Yeah, so he got that Pact Negation as insurance against Path to Exile, which is the only thing that could realistically make his life a little bit harder. It's just nothing here is going to be enough, though.
Jeremy's lining up blocks to see how it actually looks. And it does not look good.
Well, is Edgar out of mana? Did he?
Yeah, he's
Did
dead.
he double strike something?
I don't know.
Oh, that was probably a Boros Garrison that thing copied. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's more than enough here from Edgar.
And Edgar gets the job done here in game number 1. And interesting, perhaps an interesting opening in the metagame for Amulet Titan to come back.
Yeah, and it's a deck that's been doing very well in the Star City circuit. I think we saw 2 copies in the top 8 not that long ago.
Yep. It is a interesting deck in that it's you don't actually see it that often. It's quite difficult to play if you haven't before. It takes a little while to learn it.
Yeah, it most definitely is. It is hard in the same way that playing a Doomsday deck is hard. That, you know, the type of decision, you're not interacting with your opponent that much, but you really have to know what you're doing. So you could practice by yourself even, just goldfishing for hours on end, but you have to do that. It's not the type of deck that you just pick up and come to play in the tournament. Like, you need practice with it.
But
it's like KCI,
yes.
Really. You don't just... You know, KCI is more forgiving, I think, because you have infinite loops and sometimes you way overshoot, like you get 20 mana instead of the 2 you need. And this deck is more precise, I think, so there's less room for errors.
Yeah, you have to learn the play patterns on the basics, you know, how to just sort of get the job done. But then also, you know, there's corner cases with all of these combo decks as well that are very relevant, come up in certain spots. And you have to kind of go through the motions and ideally have somebody teach those to you who's experienced with the deck, but you can also do it yourself. Although I will say, based on the speed with which Edgar went through those last few motions, it looks like he's got quite a bit of experience with this deck. And
yeah, I have to imagine he does.
Yeah, it could put him in a really good spot for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he would be locking day 2, right? Whoever wins here is locks being part of the second day of the competition.
That's right.
And now the question is, how much experience does Jeremy Designy have against that deck? Because another consequence of the deck being pretty hard to play and kind of like fringe in the metagame is that you don't see that much of it. So it's possible that Jeremy's never played this matchup, where Edgar probably has. Like, if he went through, you know, a bunch of leagues, and he definitely faced this matchup, and it's possible that Jeremy Designy never did. Though I guess it's not that complicated from this side of it. Like, he has counter spells that he will bring in, has Knight of Autumn he will bring in, and I believe that is about it. There's also the added layer of difficulty of having to remember to pay for your pacts in this deck, which is not present in KCI.
It's not that hard to remember, but when you forget, boy.
Yeah.
Risk of ruin high.
Have you ever forgotten?
I have not.
Okay.
But I also didn't play when those were out, so it's only been in like Cube or Modern that I've ever played with packs.
Okay.
So, you know, number of times I've casted a pact is probably like, you know, under 100 or something like that, where if I was playing Standard back then, it probably would have been
so
like,
many.
Okay, under 50.
I thought you were going to say under 5.
No, it's a lot. I mean, I've played a lot of, what's the black one called?
Slaughter Pact?
Slaughter Pact. Played a lot of that one. That's probably the one I've cast the most out of any of them. Pact of Negation #2.
Yeah, I forgot.
The other ones I don't even know. Is there even? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What was the setting?
Prix.
Oh no! You
Yeah.
didn't like put a dice on your?
No.
Too proud for that?
Yeah. I still don't though, but now I remember. It's the kind of thing you can either remember or put the dice, right? You can't just not put it and forget, because that makes it look so stupid.
Oh man, I've seen that
And
where people just move a dice off the top of their library. And what is this doing on here? You know,
yeah.
Get that out of the way, and then like you're dead. Like what?
Yeah, I forgot once, and it was a game I could never lose either. Like, I think I was about to attack for the win that very same turn.
Oh my goodness, that's probably why you forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good.
In your mind, that game was over.
No, it was. I was right.
That is such a beating. Which pact was it?
Blue one.
The blue one.
Like, I guess, yeah. It was playing Teachings in San Francisco. It was block constricted. So.
Oof, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, there are a lot of very cool pact stories. I'm really glad they exist. They make for a lot of great stories.
Oh yeah, you got to push it all the way to the limit.
And they're all but the white one has in play, I think.
There's a white one? What does it even do?
It's something like Shining Shoal. You know, it's not Shining Shoal. You prevent the damage and gain life, I think.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing that, you know, it beats you from time to time if you're not paying attention, but no one plays it.
Yeah, I assumed that there was a white one, but I don't think I've ever seen it played.
I do not know what it's called.
Should I look? I'll look at it.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to bother looking. Chat. We don't want to hear your guess, Rashad. Chat has our back. Oh, no. Chat says Intervention Pact is garbage. Garbage Pact?
Yeah. What could it be if you were to design a new white pact? It's pretty hard, because red one already makes a creature, and that's what I think about when I think white pact. I think make 3/1/1. But that would be very similar to the red one.
By the way, are we going to see this Knight of Autumn here? Because if we're not, this could be a quick one. Amulet of Vigor.
I don't think we even saw a land, let alone a Knight of Autumn. Though there is a Noble Hierarch that will enter play at the end of the turn.
Is that a Moorland Haunt there for Jeremy?
It is.
But he has an Ether Vial.
Yeah, I mean, this is Edgar's second turn, right?
Indeed.
So
Indeed
Jeremy just missed a land drop.
He's kind of all in on this Vial, perhaps. Oh, geez.
Explosive Zone 2.
Oh, on 2. Okay, so he wants to be prepared for the...
That's unusual.
Yeah, I guess for the potential for Lords or something? Is that what he's got going on?
Yeah, but there aren't that many 2s
Boy.
in this deck.
Explosives on 1 would be okay here.
Yeah, I mean,
as it turned out.
He didn't want to play it on 1 because he has the Amulet of Vigor in play. It would get rid of that as well.
True.
But I would think that you'd probably want to wait and play it on 3 then, unless you have multiples.
Yeah, Drogskull Captain, of course.
Because the only
Big,
two,
the
the
Spell
only
Queller.
Yeah, the Spell Queller and Captain and Geist.
Geist
And like
is a trap.
Phantasmal Image will usually copy a 3 as well.
Wow.
In a spot like this, the only 2, I guess there's Remorseful Cleric for Jeremy, but there aren't that many 2s. There's just Supreme Phantom and Cleric.
And it looks like Jeremy Desani is going to take the aggressive route here and just run out a Spell Queller. No targets.
Yeah, and that is something people don't do nearly enough, I don't think, playing the Spell Queller. Especially because he has that Phantasmal Image, so he can just image the Queller if Edgar tries to do anything.
With the Ether Vial.
Yeah, with the Aether Vial. Yeah, here we see that he could have used the Vial, but he wants to keep it for the image.
So he's going to use the Supreme Phantom here. Is this going to force Edgar to just say, okay, fine,
I mean, I
use his explosives?
It is tough because Edgar is seeing a Vial in 2 as well, so he might think there are more 2s in Jeremy's hand because he didn't go up to 3.
Yeah, I mean, the question I'd be wondering if I was Edgar is, even if there are, will he play them?
Yeah, well, now he will.
Right. He did guarantee that. Okay, an Ether Vial, though we'll still see if he's got more 2s in his hand from that other copy of Ether Vial on the battlefield. Jeremy passes the turn back to Edgar, who's up a game.
Yeah, I think Jeremy's hand is just 2 Phantasmal Images here. So if Edgar has Primeval Titan, then Jeremy cannot do anything about it. But
Ooh, boy. Here comes Azusa, and there it is, the play that you mentioned a minute ago, Paulo. Phantasmal Image at instant speed. Looks like they're determining exactly when this is happening.
oh, that's brutal.
Oh,
He can't even copy Azusa.
wow.
Well, he doesn't have to put the image in play now.
No, he can just say no. And that's the key here, right, is that he activates the Ether Vial and then he put down the card that he wanted. But Edgar, knowing how Ether Vial works, says, no, the way it works is you tap it, you put an activated ability on the stack. If that ability resolves, you may put a creature, with that converted mana cost from your hand into play. So Edgar can respond to that trigger, and there's nothing in play yet. So he just decided to kill the Spell Queller to prevent that play. So Jeremy showing his hand a little there by just slamming it on the table and letting Edgar interact with this board very favorably, and in fact just wasting that activation and leaving the Phantasmal Image stranded in hand for Desani. So that was a pretty big blowout for Edgar.
Yeah, it was. And there's definitely a chance that Edgar would still make the same play. That doesn't just tap the Vial instead of, because this whole game is kind of showing you that there is Phantasmal Image, right? He played a Spell Queller, he tapped his lands, not the Vial. So he's representing it a lot. But still, he didn't even give him the chance to make a mistake here.
It's nice to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to be sure. Okay, here's Damping Sphere, or as BDM calls it, Dampening Sphere.
Oh, most people call it that, I think. It's his unofficial name.
We need some umbrellas in here. So what is that going to do against Edgar? So many of his lands fulfill that first requirement. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, like all the bounce lands do, it just produces a colorless instead.
Yeah.
Does that cripple him or just slow him down?
Oh, it's incredibly good against him.
Okay.
I think it stops his whole engine.
Okay, because he just played a bounce land there, taps it for a mana of the colorless variety.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is brutal. This is the
his-
first time I've seen Damping Sphere against this deck.
Yeah, he still gets to play Magic. It's not like, you're locked under Blood Moon, you don't have any colors of mana or anything.
Okay.
He'll still get that Primeval Titan in play. It'll still probably be enough, honestly. He does have to pay 1 more mana for that because of the Damping Sphere, but so it was not good enough, basically.
Okay.
But it was one of the best cards against this deck. If you have to ask me, what card do you want against Amulet? Well, if I can't have Blood Moon or, Meddling Mage naming Amulet of Vigor, then that's probably the card that I want.
Okay. But it may fall short here
Yeah.
because he was able to go get that Summoner's Pact.
Yeah, well, it was a long, like, this is very late in the game,
Yes.
right? And he
Right.
already has an established position. So he played it 3 times, I guess.
Yeah, he has 3 land drops thanks to Azusa, so he can pay regular just the 4 mana for the Pact and then 7.
Yeah, and here it's not going to do that much. And Jeremy Deseni can actually play 2 copies of Primeval Titan himself with those Phantasmal images.
That's true. That's interesting.
And, I mean, we'll certainly see 1 here. Probably a Canopy sack on top of it.
He did pay the 7, it looks like, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it looks like he paid 8.
Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's 7, right?
Well, he used a Gemstone Mine that is in the graveyard.
Ah,
So he must have only
eye.
played his land twice, I imagine.
then he played it twice. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay.
So he still has a land drop left.
Indeed.
But I think he's short color mana to be able to activate.
It looks like he did play it 3 times because they just brought that Gemstone Mine back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? If he did play it 3 times.
Yes, that seems like it. It's possible he only played it once, but then that Gemstone Mine has to get out of there.
Yeah. A little weird, just bringing back that Gemstone Mine was a little unclear
in the
from
middle
here.
of the resolution of the thing.
Right. But he must have overpaid.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting situation because it gives Jeremy Deseni the clock that he didn't have. And, he can get the Vesuva to copy this Lair Stronghold. But that is only haste and vigilance, right?
+2/+0.
Yeah, haste and... But
haste and vigilance.
it doesn't have any defensive stats.
No.
So Jeremy Deseni could...
Copy and trade.
Yeah, copy and trade.
Mhm.
But Edgar can also just wait on that Lair Stronghold and then target the Phantasmal image. But then he can't attack this turn.
That's true. Interesting.
And he has to know there's Phantasmal image there. Like, he knows. Deseni played it. Right? And then he put it in play at the end file.
That little misstep by Desani, that little impatient about showing that card, has really come back to bite him. It let Edgar make the clean play at the time, and now it gives him a lot of information about what Jeremy could do in response to the attack step here. Edgar may still just be fine with it, but boy, having that, knowing for sure lets him just craft a much better plan than if he didn't.
Yeah, and does he want to trade? I mean, it seems like he does.
Maybe he just values getting the Tolaria West thing going. Ooh,
Yeah.
2 of them.
He does have to pay for Pact next turn. Can't forget.
Be kind of interesting if he forgot after our conversation earlier, but
It would be great.
I don't think he will. It would be kind of great, like
I'm
not for
rooting for
him, but just for entertainment value.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to.
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see.
I think he's got this.
So, I don't know what the conclusion of the ruling was. I don't know if he can still play his bounce land one extra time. I don't think he can. I think he's already made all his land drops. So he has no way of returning those Tolaria West right now. Yeah, and those Gemstone Mines are his only way to access, colors that aren't green or blue. Like the dual lands, the bounce lands don't tap for colored mana anymore. 2 Horizon Canopies?
Well, Jeremy's going to reload, it looks like. And as you mentioned, the trade happens there as well. The question from Jeremy's perspective is the damage already done?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think Edgar has another Summoner's Pact. But he can't cast another Titan right now. He doesn't have... Oh, he does have a bounce land in hand, so he could.
Yeah, he better have a bounce land in hand after going to get 2 copies of Tolaria West. Edgar on easy mode.
Yeah, so he can still cast Pact plus Titan, but Jeremy Desani can just make the same play. Oh, that's actually going to put a dent on Edgar's plans because Edgar has access to 11 mana, and he needs 4 to pay for Pact, then 1 more for the Summoner's Pact because the Dampening Sphere
Gotcha.
makes it cost 1 more. It makes the Titan cost 7. So to go Pact into Titan, he needs 7 mana and 4 for Pact. So if Thalia is in play, then he cannot do it.
And there she is. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, on the battlefield, making Edgar's life taxed ever more. So perhaps a combination of Damping Sphere and Thalia, slowing him down just enough to be able to...
yeah, he won't play it this turn. I mean, he can still... He's not going to die in 1 turn.
Right.
But
he did pay for the pack there. Can breathe a sigh of relief, chat.
It is interesting because we're used to seeing this Amulet deck. Like, okay, it's got everything going. It has Amulet and Titan, so the game's over. But it's not that type of combo deck. It's kind of... There are windows to do things and stop, or at least slow it. And that's what Jeremy decided. It's just basically nothing but a Phantasmal Image. And a spell color on nothing.
Ancient Stirrings for Edgar.
Yeah, that is not really going to find anything important, I don't think. Oh, never mind.
Walking Ballista is what he found.
That is a very good card. Jeremy Desani has the potential to go... He has 2 Lords and a Phantasmal Image in hand, so he can just play the 2 Lords, and then next turn he can Phantasmal Image the Drogskull Captain, and that is a 2-turn clock. So Edgar isn't kind of a rush here.
Okay, Tlaria West is going to get transmuted here.
Tlaria West is always striking me as kind of an underplayed card based on how powerful it is. Like, the opportunity cost is so low. And then it just has the potential to get so many super powerful things. And this is really the only deck that plays it.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
But
there's the Drogskull Captain. Supreme Phantom. So this board state looks way different than it did when Edgar said go. Now all of a sudden there's a clock on Jeremy's side and something to protect.
yeah, that explosives is going to be very annoying. Oh, the Vesuva copied the Glue Turf? Okay.
So the plant token's going to jump in front of Thalia, but the rest of the damage in the air is going to come in. It's like hits for 5, passes the turn back to Edgar. Still got to feel like Edgar's in a good position here.
Yeah, I think so, but not as good as he was before.
Yeah. Curious to see at the end of this game if the Damping Sphere, what our take on it is. I mean, it slowed him down a bit. But if that's all it's doing, is that enough? Maybe if he had it on turn 2, it would have been.
Well, I think Edgar would have won already if it wasn't for that. It just
Okay.
it stopped him from going off with the Titan and doing the same thing he did game 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's bought a lot of time. Maybe it won't win the game by itself, but what? What just happened?
Did he overpay?
Oh, he doesn't want it to get spell quellered, so he paid 5 for it.
I see. Yeah, Thalia's out on the battlefield as well. Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, so he only used 2 colors of mana, but he paid 5, so that spell queller wouldn't be able to get it. And German Design responded by making a spirit with Moreland Haunt.
Okay, and he's got Phantasmal Image here. And he copied
Oh, it wasn't
Drogskull Captain.
Okay, it wasn't a response. You passed the turn. That makes more sense.
Right, it was Engineer Explosives Go.
Wow, that was an anticlimactic turn of events
Wow.
for Edgar.
Yeah. By the way, chat's asking how he paid 2 colors. You can see that the interesting thing here is that the 2 Gruul Turfs actually tap for colorless mana. So the only 2 lands that he tapped for colored mana were Teleria West and Colony Garden. Very weird set of circumstances with Thalia out, plus him wanting to pay extra, but then also his colored mana somehow producing colorless thanks to the Damping Sphere. So
Yeah, and I think that's going to be enough for Jeremy, unless there's something like a Hornet Queen in Edgar Margoliouth's deck, which is a card that, well, it is in his sideboard,
ooh,
so he probably brought it in.
oh yeah,
And he does have 3 green. Oh, but apparently doesn't have it.
yeah. It feels like that's what he would have gotten.
So I don't think that's enough. I don't think Titan is enough to win the game here.
Is it not?
It doesn't look like it, because he can't even, like, each land only gives 1 mana.
Well, not anymore, right?
Oh, okay, the sphere's gone.
he
Never
blew it
mind.
up. I think it might be enough.
I think he can just get it blocked out, because he can use this.
Oh, good point.
He can use this Lair Stronghold, make it an 8. Then he can use the Sun Home to give it double strike, so that's 16. That's not enough, so he has to find a way to use the Sun Home, the Lair Stronghold again.
Twice, make it
Yeah.
10 and then double strike.
Yeah, but even that's not enough, because there's a Mutavault from Jeremy Designer's side.
And that Mutavault has what, 4 toughness?
Yeah. And then the 2 Noble Hierarchs.
Right.
So he has to use it 3 times.
All right, Edgar. We'll see what you got. Maybe is there a way he can get another Titan and do it that way? Feels like a lot, but he does have a lot at his disposal with Azusa. Can do a lot.
Yeah, Jeremy Designer can even make a Spirit to block.
Oh, sure. And
So-
still have Mutavault available?
Yeah. So he actually just threatened to kill the Primeval Titan. Yeah, so what is Edgar
Yeah, Edgar.
plan here?
I think Edgar has a Walking Ballista in his hand too.
Oh yeah, we know about that.
Right. Maybe he can use that to combine.
But then if he activates Sunhome, then he just doesn't have any mana left. I guess that Azusa is 6 mana.
Mm-hmm.
So that represents 3 damage from Walking Ballista. So now the potential is there for, 16 damage, which would be 11 damage if it's blocked like this. And then just the 3 from the Walking Ballista is not enough. It's only 14. Yep. Yeah, I can't really see what can go wrong here for Jeremy. Like, I feel like regardless of what Jeremy does, as long as he blocks and it's not just with double hierarch, he's got it.
He seems certainly aware of this.
It's like the 2 Drux captains by themselves are already lethal. So unless there is the Hornet Queen, and that's what we're going to see.
Oh, there we go.
Now we see Summoner's Pact for Hornet Queen, and then, oh yeah, there is.
And there is, and that makes it extraordinarily difficult for Desani to get through that. In fact, he just can't.
Yeah, I don't think he can.
Wow, really powerful sideboard option here for Edgar. Watching him work his way through this line of play, culminating with Summoner's Pact, grabbing a Hornet Queen.
Yeah, that was really well played by him.
Yeah, 5 flyers now, all with Death Touch. Makes it nearly impossible for Jeremy Desani to get through in the air with his plan. Such an absolute dagger against this Bant Spirits deck that just doesn't have the tools to work with here.
Yeah, I feel like here maybe Jeremy Desani had to also block with the Spirit, because that would at least have killed the Primeval Titan, because Edgar wouldn't be able to use the Sun Home. Or maybe he still would. He had plenty of mana.
He paid for Pact. I think that was about the last shot there for Jeremy.
Yeah. All right, he recognizes it.
And that is going to do it. Edgar, wow, impressive stuff from him. I mentioned it earlier, but he's clearly one of the better players with this Amulet deck. Very comfortable with it in his hands, and it was fun to watch him.
Did he pay for 2 packs?
Over the game, yeah.
No, he did the last turn.
I think just one.
Didn't he play 2? Because he played the first one, and we said, well, now he's going to get Hornet Queen, and he didn't. He got Titan.
Wait, are you right about that? That doesn't sound wrong to me.
Yeah, maybe he paid for 2. I wasn't really looking for it.
Yeah.
He certainly didn't have anything else to do with his mana.
Yeah, I saw him tap 4 lands, but he may have just grabbed 4 bounce lands and paid for that.
That makes
too.
sense. That makes sense.
Wow, that was fun. Interesting stuff. Just a little taste of what you're going to get in Modern over the course of the weekend. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll have Time Walk here from Atlanta. Don't go anywhere. Hello there, welcome back to the booth here at Grand Prix Atlanta. That's Paulo Vitor, Dominic Rosa, Marshall Sutcliffe. Thanks so much for coming along for coverage of Modern. We've got to look at some time walk here, PV, where we get a chance to see the Runaway Red deck, the kind of new kid on the block here in Modern. So let's head on down right now. All right, as we come into our time walk match here, oh no, that Hornet Queen's still hanging around. We've got David Bond and Ben Yu. Ben is playing Runaway Red. This is a relatively new deck based off of actually 2 cards from Guilds of Ravnica somehow. Runaway Steamkin and Arclight Phoenix seem to be the 2 focal points to the deck.
And Risk Factor.
And Risk Factor is even in there too, yeah, totally. And right away we see Runaway Steamkin on your screen here to kick things off. What is its role in a deck like this? Because it kind of has two different things going on.
Yeah, well, the first role is just adding mana, I think, because every time you play a red spell, it gets a counter. So if you play 3 spells, you get 3 counters, you add 3 mana. So it kind of lowers the cost of all your red spells by 1 in a way, you know, if you play multiple of them.
Yeah.
But then it also attacks for a lot.
Yes.
Right? It attacks for 4. For a 2-drop, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's a hybrid between a Tarmogoyf and a Boral.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it also lets you just kind of keep going with that, right? Like you build up the 3 mana, then or the 3 counters, and you take it off, and you cast 3 more things. You can always get those Arclight Phoenixes back. This is also strangely, you know, a pretty heavy graveyard themed deck as well, right? I mean, it runs cards like Faithless Looting to try to get cards into the graveyard and cycle them through, and then also runs some kind of ritual type cards, Desperate Ritual and Manamorphose in there as well.
Yeah, and Blood Moon.
It's just got 2 Blood Moons just mising people
out.
out. Yeah, you got to love that.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the Runaway Steamkin is that, you know, unlike the Boral and the Electro Monster type cards, it stacks really well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have 2 Borals and I cast a Knot, that doesn't give me anything. But if I have 2 Steamkins and I cast 3 Lightning Bolts, I'm actually up 3 mana in the exchange. Like, so it goes... It's a Boral that reduces cost to 0 and even to less than 0 if you have multiple of them. Or if you're playing Manamorphoses. Oh, there's a Risk Factor in the graveyard.
There it is. Runaway Steamkin, though, got smashed by a Lightning Helix on end step there. Serum Visions now from David, who's playing Jeskai Mentor. That sounds sweet, too.
Mentor as in Monastery Mentor, not as in the ability from the Boros Guild.
Sure, yes. Yes, this deck less affected by Guilds of Ravnica.
Yeah.
Although I do see only...
breakout decks from Guilds of Ravnica.
Yeah, I only see 1 Monastery Mentor.
Okay. So I guess we can say Ben Yu is playing Ramunap Red.
There you go. He is playing that, yeah. Where's the Blade Instructor over there on David's deck? I don't see it. Didn't make the cut, it looks like.
Yeah, and also so far Grandmaster is a card that I'm not a blast for in the past, but I've seen a lot of those here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and here in this matchup, the Steamkins are never going to live for Ben Yu, and also burning his opponent out with Burst Lightning and Fiery Tempering Lightning mode doesn't seem that likely when he's gaining all this life. So Ben Yu is more on the 1-card plan. He wants to play 1 powerful card like a Chandra or a Blood Moon or a Young Pyromancer to have that card run away with the game, as opposed to just trying to kill his opponent with multiple attacks off a Steamkin or comboing off in any way.
Ooh, Celestial Purge. Remember, we're in game number 2 here to exile Chandra Torch of Defiance, which could have been a pretty big problem, although I will say David is going to need to deal with Young Pyromancer before it gets out of hand as well. No, he likely has a lot of ways to do that.
Yeah, and 4 Bedlam Reveler in Ben Yu's deck. So that is, there is the Relic of Progenitus to kind of stop that, but that is another 1 card that runs away with the game a lot. And interestingly enough, David Bond actually is playing 2 copies of Bedlam Reveler himself, which is a card that you don't usually see with counter spells. Like, it's weird to have Cryptic Command and Bedlam Reveler in your deck.
Jace the Mind Sculptor Bedlam Reveler deck?
Yeah.
All right.
You can bounce the Bedlam Reveler and replay it, Marshall. Keep up.
Electrolyze there from David Bond. One of the many answers that he had for that Young Pyromancer, perhaps one of the best ones. Goes 1 upstairs, and one of the Pyromancer gets his card back. Ooh! Ooh! Shields down, though, and it looks like Blood Moon's going to hit the table here for Ben Yu. And taking a quick glance at David Bond's Mana base, well, he has one basic.
Yeah,
Mountain.
it's not the best one. Well, now he has 4.
All right, so we got the mono red mirror match.
Yeah, and both players have Battle Unraveler, so this could go either way.
This is no problem. Wow, that is absolutely devastating. Ben Yu just dropping the bomb on him here. Blood Moon could easily win him this game from this point, as he has left David Bond with only the ability to make red mana. And of course, you know, one of the, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's obvious, but one of the modes about Blood Moon is that the color it happens to be, right, it happens to be a red card that makes things in the mountains, leaves the opponent with no ways to do that. Like if it was whatever, white moon, right, full moon,
Yeah.
and it was like, you know, you could have answers for it because white can actually answer enchantments, but red can't. So
Yeah.
it's just double trouble where David is going to now have to find, I don't even know what. Does he? So he has a plains, a mountain, and 3 island.
Oh, there you go. 3 islands, 1 cryptic command.
Done. Easy game. It just needs to find all of those. He
Yeah.
does have a plains. We already saw Celestial Purge, but that was the only one.
Well, there are 2. Oh, there's planes.
He found a plains?
Yeah.
Oh, that is hope.
There are 2 Wear Tears,
Okay.
and maybe he brought them in, maybe he didn't. You know, and they're
See,
not.
would you?
I don't think I
think
would,
you
honestly.
No.
Because my train of thought is I'm not going to beat Blood Moon anyway unless I fetch my basics early. And then it only deals with Blood Moon out of Ben Yu's deck. So I don't think
Yeah.
I would bring it in. But there's also Snapcaster Mage for Celestial Purge, which is now gone because he sacked that relic, so that's not even a knot anymore.
Okay.
And he would also need an island on top of that and the Snapcaster Mage, so it was a long way off.
Man, Modern is so boring. It's just all mono red mirrors.
Should they make Blood Moons for other colors?
Yeah, why doesn't all the colors get a blood moon? Yay! We have to name them, though.
Okay.
What
Oh,
would
the blue
what would
moon
the
is a
blue-
thing.
Blue moon, that's easy.
Yeah.
Blood moon, blue moon. White moon doesn't work. We need something better. There's Fiery Temper to do 3 and put another counter on the Steamkin. By the way, Ben Yu is just running away with this. We could call the white one just full moon.
I recall it the black one, the
Pale moon? That's kind of cool. The
that's
black?
a card already.
Oh, that's
Isn't it?
that's annoying. Oh yeah,
Some
and the
blue card that
we-
makes things into
we could have called the green
colorless.
one Alpine Moon, but they took that too. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do this.
How do you call it in English when there is no moon? Is it new moon?
Yeah.
Okay, that can be the black one.
Yeah, there you go. New moon. Oh, I like that. See, that's good.
Yeah.
This is why we bring him in. Hall of Fame naming of cards here from Paulo Vitor Damarosa. Although I will say, our idea is fundamentally awful, right? Like we don't need any more blood. We should just get rid of that and be happy
Well,
with it.
I'm a fan of equality. So if we're not going to get rid of that, then
Then
that's the only
everybody
thing
gets
we
one.
can actually
Okay,
do,
That's
yeah.
fair. Arclight Phoenix, by the way, has hit the battlefield for Ben Yu, and boom, it's hitting David Bond, and all he can do is play mountain after mountain.
yeah. And I will admit that Arclight Phoenix was a card that slipped past my defenses on the original previews.
Same.
Because you know I'm normally I've learned to not underestimate graveyard-based cards because they've always have the potential to be broken. But I looked at the Phoenix and I thought, come on, if I'm playing 3 spells in the same turn, I'm winning already, right? Like I'm gonna cast Mind's Desire, not the stupid Phoenix.
Right.
And then it's just an incredible card in
Yes.
Standard and in Modern.
Yes.
So it really is much better than I anticipated. And it didn't take very long for it to break out either.
It was
like
quick.
2 days of the set. It was like, yeah, this card's great.
Yeah, it really was. Did he draw a path? He did.
It did, yeah.
Well, David is hanging in there. By the way, chat says that green should be Harvest Moon.
Ooh, I like that.
That's good.
I like that.
See, crowdsourcing. What would be the artwork for a new moon?
Well, there would just be no moon. It would just be that dark sky.
Well, it should be like stars, but with a black circle, right?
Like Damnation?
No, I mean, like it's there,
Okay.
right?
Sure. A slightly blacker black in the black of the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
So you get it. feel like we both just torched any chance of ever working in R&D or on the creative
Well,
team.
we had so many great ideas.
We did.
They're probably just watching this right now and writing it down.
They're writing out our offer letters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the names so they can use them in the future.
This is interesting. So Ben Yu has played Runaway Steamkin and then a Blood Moon number 2 to get a counter on it, but David once again has the answer. Somehow David has been able to keep Ben threatless here. Can he just do that? I mean, Ben has, at least in his main deck, a bunch of burn spells that should be able to end the game at some point. But I don't know. Maybe he takes some of them out. I don't know. He's got Lightning Bolt, Fiery Temper. Those both go to the head.
What is that?
You know, he has Risk Factor. This is actually kind of interesting because he's not playing quite as many straight-up burn spells. He has 4 Bolt, 4 Temper, and a Burst Lightning with the Risk Factors.
Okay. Is that a Molten Rain?
Which? Oh, yeah, that's a Molten Rain.
Okay.
So take that, Steam Vents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from Modern Masters, the 2017 one.
That is really weird, though, because Ben Yu must not know that he can target basics.
Oh, did he? Oh, he targeted his Steam Vents.
Yeah, because he could have just destroyed the planes.
Oh. Yeah.
And that
yeah.
feels like it would be better.
Yes, he definitely.
Than do 2 damage.
That was just an oversight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This could come back to bite him. Never mind.
Yeah.
Fiery Temper takes care of the Monastery. But I was going to say, I mean, we've all seen it, right? Opponent untaps with Monastery Mentor, and next thing you know, they have 5, monks, and all of a sudden the game is completely swung away. As it stands, though, Monastery Mentor's little kid here is going to take over. It looks like young Pyromancer.
Yeah, now Ben Yu is... It took Ben Yu a very long time. I felt like when he played that Blood Moon with that Chandra in hand, the game was over. And then David actually battled through.
He kind of did.
But without finding an island, at least, to cast some Snapcaster Mages, there's no way he can win here.
Right, and the second Blood Moon's pretty annoying, too.
Yeah, eventually Ben Yu is just going to be able to play, Bedlam Reveler and whatnot.
And that's going to do it right there. Arclight Phoenix on the stack prompts the concession there. So it's Blood Moon's world. We just live in it, PV. When it does what it does, it tends to completely dominate the board. And that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, it is.
It's just kind of part of life in Modern.
Even against a red deck, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he still casts a bunch of spells the rest of the game, even especially after finding that one copy of Plains. But it didn't matter. There was really nothing he could do at that point. And, I like that, to be honest. Like when you just throw a random Blood Moon in a deck that can cast it anyway. All right, we've got a little more time walk for you. Michael Bonde is playing against Peter Ye, and we've got Jund. Finally, Jund. You and I haven't seen Jund yet today. Playing against Storm. Wow, this feels like Modern from, 4 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it really does.
I like it.
Any Deathrite Shamans?
No, I don't think we'll see those, though. We may see Bloodbraid Elf.
Yeah, and this is a matchup that is normally good for Jund, I think, because you have all the disruption plus a clock. So not really something that Storm wants to play against. Storm wants to play against, Tron and decks like that.
Yeah.
Just very slow decks. Like KCI, it's a combo deck that is slightly slower than it. That's what Storm preys on. But the combination of being able to kill the Electromancers with discarding the other spells and actually adding up a threat, and cards like Scavenging Ooze are just really hard to deal with. Though I don't know how many of those cards Michael Bonde actually has. Oh, he does have Bloodbraid Elf. And 3 copies of Scavenging Ooze, so
he's got him. Is this going to be another hand disruption spell? Oh, yeah. Double Thoughtseize here for Bonde.
I like that Peter Ye didn't play that Electromancer. It doesn't seem like he would accomplish much, and he's just trying to set up a turn where he, does multiple things.
He plays it and then plays a bunch of spells?
Yeah, at least now he's kind of, taxing Michael Bonde's man. If he just plays it now, he's just going to get bolted with a land that Michael Bonde wasn't going to use anyway.
Yep.
So he's basically going to get bolted for free. now Michael Bonnet, if he wants to play a 3-drop or, a turn 4 Bloodbraid Elf, then he has to account for the fact that Peter can just play Goblin Electromancer and then other stuff in the same turn.
Yeah, it's a really, really smart play by Peter. Especially given that Michael has no pressure, right? He has yet to produce anything that can actually deal damage to Peter, so what's the hurry anyway?
Yeah, and the thing is that even if Peter managed to untap with the Electromancer, it's not going to do anything.
Right.
So.
Well, there it is. Scavenging news now for Michael.
Yeah, and keeping that red mana up for the Lightning Bolt. So already looking pretty grim.
Yeah, so Michael's going to start working on Peter's graveyard here. Now the scavenging news only gets bigger if it's a creature, but still he can gobble up any of those cards in the yard and prevent any future shenanigans from Peter.
Yeah, now Michael Bonnet can play Liliana and Pleasant, and I think at this point it's almost impossible for Peter to come back.
He'll be down to 3 cards.
Why don't we have an advantage bar here? So I could operate it and be confident.
Yeah, they do the graphics at the time of recording.
I know. I just mean it's so hard to operate the advantage bar. It's so much pressure. And the game is so close. What if it's wrong? And
you've been doing fine.
Now that the game is clear cut.
Oh, man. Just imagine that advantage bar over on Michael's side.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, that's funny. It looks like Peter was picking up his hand that he had left exposed, and Michael took that perhaps as a concession. And, well, Michael knows that he is way ahead here.
Yeah, it would be just like me to put the advantage bar all the way to Michael Bonnet, just having concede by accident.
That would be your fault, by the way. We would blame that one on you.
Yeah.
Peter still leaving that Electromancer on the table for a minute there. It's not on the battlefield. It's actually in his hand. He was just leaving it exposed.
Yeah, so that Michael doesn't have to write it down.
Right.
Though I don't like that very much. When I'm playing, it is one of my pet peeves. Like, I would rather just write it down and let people write it down than have some cards on the battlefield but not in play. It's kind of confusing to me.
All right, he's going to bounce it back to his hand in response to the Lightning Bolt. But Liliana of the Veil really putting work in here, making Peter continually discard cards. It's just so hard with that critical mass in this deck to get anything rolling. Sure, he could play out the Electromancer and then maybe even fire off a ritual or two, but to what end, right? He just doesn't have anywhere to go, and he kind of needs all of it.
Yeah, and we know that Michael Bonnet can just minus Liliana if he wants to get rid of that Electromancer. So it's not like he even needs to have an answer.
Finally, some food for the scavenging news. He eats up the Goblin Electromancer that just got lightning bolted. Land for the turn for Bondet is his last card as he pluses Liliana up to ultimate range, although he probably won't even bother ultimating. All he does is destroy a land here.
Yeah, even if Peter plays another land, I think he just wants to go up.
Here's Opt from Peter. Yeah, usually when you get to 6 on Liliana of the Veil, you're like pretty excited to get that ultimate off, but here doesn't actually look that great.
Yeah, I think it's just going to wait.
Yeah.
I do think it's one of the Planeswalkers where you wait the most.
Yes.
Right? There are a lot of them you just ultimate immediately anytime that you can, and I've seen people not ultimate Liliana a fair amount.
Definitely.
And also not use it, which is pretty rare.
That is also rare, yeah.
Like, you almost always use your Planeswalker. With Liliana, you can just play it and pass.
Yeah, that is true. Liliana is one of the Planeswalkers that use. In fact, it feels like they've actually designed away from that, right? With many of the abilities being an up-to type thing where there's just not situations that you find yourself in where you're not plussing every turn with it. But Liliana has this symmetrical effect that, you might not want to use.
I can't think. The only one that I can think of that also works like this is Jace Beleren. Where you might, you might not want to minus it, but then you also might want to plus it because it gives your opponent a card.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think all the others are pretty safe to just plus every turn.
Yeah. And both of those that you named are pretty far back in the first couple of years that Planeswalkers were introduced. It feels like those type of designs have gone to the wayside. I never really thought of it like that until you said it, but I do enjoy the same thing. I like interesting decisions where you're forced to make a call on, well, should I just plus it or not? In this case, it's been easy for Bondet because the play pattern is exactly how you dream of when you play Liliana of the Veil, where you're just drawing a card per turn, playing it out of your hand, and then plussing Liliana to get your opponent down to nothing. And the Scavenging News has made mincemeat of the graveyard as well of Peter. We're going to come back to the booth here because we got to go to a commercial because we're getting ready for the next round. I can tell you, though, that Michael, after winning game 1, also wins game number 2 with his Jund deck against Storm, making you look smart for saying that that was a good matchup. And he has remained undefeated going in. All right, so we've got a short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to be flopping booths, and we'll be back live in the feature match area. We'll see you right after that.